Assalamu alaikum and welcome to day 7 of my 30 days of parenting for a peaceful Ramadan. Today I'd like to talk to you about something that is it's a very common theme for Ramadan. Ramadan is an opportunity for Muslims all around the world to seek Allah's forgiveness. In this month, we are told that there are several opportunities, especially in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, where our du'as and our prayers and our pleas to have our sins forgiven will be answered. And it got me to thinking about the tradition that when Ramadan starts, traditionally you ask your peer group, your friends, your family to forgive you, like I asked everyone to forgive me my sins if I've offended anyone or if I've hurt anyone, for them to please forgive me, and I pray that I won't do it again, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it intentionally, unless it's obviously my husband, in which case, there are some things, I did mean, but I'll pray for forgiveness at a later date for that, inshallah. But with regards to this idea of forgiveness, it's a pretty big one, especially throughout the whole year, but especially through Ramadan. And I was thinking about how we ask everyone to forgive us, and we try. This is a month of, it's a rehearsal. In this month, we believe that shaitan is locked away. And so the bigger sins that might happen, or the bigger things that may lead us off track, they're not possible during this month, except for a lovely young lady I spoke to the other day. She phrased it really, really well. She said that Ramadan is when you see someone's true colours, when they reveal their true self. Because throughout the year, when shaitan is unleashed and is around, it's easier to fall into the traps of his whisperings. But during Ramadan, when he's chained up, the little things that we kind of maybe get tempted to do, they're on us. But although shaitan is locked up during this month, there's still our own inner demons. There are the little whisperings that come from us, and they can only come from our thoughts. They're the little, whispers of rebellion. They're the little whispers of when you lose it with your kids. And it's almost like it's justified. They made me so angry. Their incessant fighting. Of course I'm justified in having a go at them. They don't listen when I say something nicely. It takes me to absolutely lose my temper for them to do anything. And the amount of times that I can kindly say no, it's when I go no in that mumzilla voice that they get them, that they get the hint, that they actually get it. It's almost like no doesn't mean no unless mum is shouting and bawling it. So there are those inner little whispers, there's those inner little demons that we all have within us, although big shaitan is locked up. And I wanted to talk about, asking for forgiveness, but do we forgive ourselves when it comes to our kids? Do we forgive ourselves for all the things that we do that we mull over, like the time that you have lost it with your kids, and, at the time, you're in that moment and it's heated, and for whatever reason you just lose it, and then you may spend the rest of the day and a story may build up in your head of, then how could I do it to them, what kind of person does that make me, and or it could go the other way. It could be like, do you know what, they deserved it. I don't feel bad about it, that was fine. But it's a story that goes on in our mind. So really what I'd like to impress upon, or just talk about today, is that notion of forgiving ourselves. And I know we spoke about being merciful to ourselves, but specifically we talk about, or as Muslims we talk about at the beginning of the month, seeking forgiveness from everyone else. And especially during this month we seek Allah's forgiveness. But when it comes to our children, I know that I didn't ask any of my kids to forgive me, and I've done tons to them, I suppose, that could be deemed as not very nice. I mean, I'm sure I've done lots of lovely things for them as well, but I didn't seek forgiveness from my kids. So I was just thinking about it today, and I was thinking what I would actually say to my 11-year-old son and how he would take it. I mean, If I went up to him and I said, Zachary, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I hope that you don't harbour any ill feeling towards me. I pray that that you can forgive me for anything bad that I've done. If I've offended you, if I've hurt you in any way, he'd probably just look at me and think, yeah, okay, whatever, mum. Or he might, he might pray upon that and be like, if you really want to be sorry, mum, if you really want to be forgiven, how about another couple of hours on the Xbox? I don't know, but it's just something that we don't do. So with regards to our children, it's almost like we treat them very, very differently, but they are their own people, their own personalities, their own little beings, and is it prejudice then that we treat them differently? That, if anyone came up to us whilst we were chatting, like if we were talking to, like if I was talking to one of my mum friends and another friend came over and just, tapped me on my hand and went, oh, by the way, Farah, blah, blah, blah. And yes, she interrupted our conversation, but I would be like, what do you say? No, can't you see I'm talking? You stop until you don't interrupt until you see that I've paused and you can find a little in. Otherwise, you just stand there and you wait till I'm finished. Can't you see what I'm doing? I would never dream of saying that to someone. But yeah, I've said it to my kids. I don't now. We have a different system now that if I'm chatting to someone, we've tried and tested it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But on the whole, if I'm talking to someone and my children at that moment desperately need me for something, or if they want to talk to me about something, then they come and they put their hand on my hand. That's to let me know that they need me for something, or they want something from me, or they want to tell me something. And then I put my hand on their hand to show them that I know that they're there, I'm not ignoring them, and that I hear them. Or I know, well, I don't hear them, but I know that they're there. I've acknowledged that they want to speak to me or that they need something from me. So my hand on their hand is just that acknowledgement. But it also tells them that mummy will tend to you in a second. Mummy's doing something at the moment. As soon as mummy's gotten in, she will sort you out. But for the moment, I know that you're there. I'm not ignoring you. So I will get to you as soon as I can. Obviously, if it's a life or death, situation, then the hand on the hand's not going to work. They're just going to blurt out whatever. But sometimes, telling me that they've just spotted a flower somewhere, it's hardly, going to rock my world at that moment. But obviously for them, it's well important, like not a flower, but, something that seems amazing to them. Like my son, he saw a worm and he was just like the best day in the world, in his world, the best day of his life. But, it could be something that I'd interrupt a conversation for, but at that moment, I pressed upon him that just pop your hand on my hand. You can tell me that in a bit, my love. So this idea of forgiveness, if I think we should seek forgiveness from our children, and what that forgiveness actually looks like, I don't know, and what that forgiveness, even means to them, I don't know. But I think that it sends out a message to our children that they're worthy and that they are worth asking forgiveness of, and that they mean something. I know that that's what I think it will mean. I doubt that if I said to my 3-year-old, please forgive mummy for, whatever I've done, and if mummy's upset you, that she would just, run off, or she might just look at me and not really say much. Or if I said that to my 7-year-old, she'd probably have the conversation with me. She'd probably then list all the ways that I have upset her and have hurt her and have, annoyed her and all the rest of it. But I think it just opens up an avenue of talking to them. And yeah, I just think that it would show that they are worthy and that I would like to seek their forgiveness. So if you are going to be seeking anyone's forgiveness, or if you already have, or, have you asked your children? Have you asked your children to forgive you? Maybe it's something that you could do. Maybe your children aren't little children. Maybe your children are big children. Or maybe you've not, felt the need to ask anyone for forgiveness in this month. And really, do we need that person's forgiveness? Well, I suppose that's a discussion for a different day. But I guess asking from a genuine place, like genuinely asking them to forgive you if you have in any way offended them, that can't be a bad thing, really, can it? If I know that there's a lot of platitudes that perhaps you know, there's this thing where you become a Ramadan Muslim, that suddenly everyone's beard gets a little bit longer, my own included, but, you know, everyone gets a little bit more pious, everyone gets a little bit more God-fearing. And, you know, you could go throughout the whole year of not really observing Islamic rules per se, but come Ramadan, then everyone, you know, is Allahu Akbar. And subhanallah, I mean, if you are asking someone to forgive you with a genuine belief and a genuine hope that they will, that can't be a bad thing. And I think it shows the other person, and especially our children, that they are worthy and that they mean something, because they do. So try and let me know how you get on, inshallah. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. I shall hopefully see you tomorrow for day 8. Assalamu alaikum.